Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 9th of May, 2016. This is episode 178, Knitting Stops for Driving. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. I feel like this is going to be a short-ish episode. We'll see how that goes. I had a really good week. Last week I told you that I was going to Michigan, and I did. It was fabulous. I did basically nothing. I sat around a lot and just sat around. I didn't even really knit that much while I was there. I knit a little bit. I'll show you. I'll talk about that a little more in the actual knitting. But yeah, it was just really, really nice to see my sister and my niece and nephew and my mom and my best friend, and it was good times, but it's a 6-hour drive each way, so that's a lot of time that I couldn't knit. Plus then I was really, really tired because driving makes me very sleepy. So then there was sleeping instead of knitting. And then on Saturday I took the kids to visit Steve's mom. And we met up about an hour drive away at a restaurant. So that was another couple hours where I couldn't knit, and we were at a restaurant where Mara was very rambunctious, so I didn't really knit there. So mostly I did a lot of traveling and not a lot of knitting this week. So it's going to be probably a little content light. Oh well. I hope your week was really, really good. And I hope that something made you super happy this week, because I was super happy this week. Oh, and Mother's Day happened yesterday in the US. So happy Mother's Day to anybody who celebrates. Mine was pretty good. One of my regular customers at my job brought me a flower. I work customer service at a grocery store, and he came up and he had the receipt and he had the flower, and I was like, okay, what can I fix for you? Because yesterday was just so busy. People were constantly coming up. It was very, very busy. So with returns or wanting to buy lottery tickets or whatever, or turn in lottery tickets. So he handed me the receipt and the flowers, and I was like, okay, how can I fix this for you? And he was like, no, silly, they're for you. Happy Mother's Day. And I was like, oh, it was a rose with some baby's breath, and it was just really, really nice. I don't know. That doesn't happen a lot. But I did get 2 boxes of chocolate for Mother's Day from my kids, so that was lovely. Breakfast was made for me, dinner was made for me, and I slept through lunch because, yay, I got to have a nap yesterday. It was so lovely. Anyway, now I'm here and it's today, so let's talk about some knitting, shall we? You guys are kicking butt at the small things knit along. Look at this. First page filled. So I'm thinking next week, probably a prize giveaway, because we have a whole page of stuff. So I'll cut that up and put it in a jar and draw a prize next week. Yay, first prize next week. I'm super excited, which means I should probably finish updating the prize thread, huh? Yeah, I'll get to that. It's on my list of things to do. My list keeps growing longer and I don't cross things off. Last week was just too busy. Too busy because the driving and then the getting back to things. Okay, but I have finished object. I finished something while I was in Michigan. Excited. If you watched last week, you already know what it is because I was so close last week. These are the Josie socks by Jenna Meyer, and look at that gorgeous lace, crazy pattern on the top. This is where I was last week. So yeah, I had like 3 or 4 rounds. What was it? 4 rounds to go on the pattern, and then the cuff and bind off. I did, I don't know what the pattern calls for the ribbing. I did 1 by 1 so that I could do a sewn bind off because I really like the way that finishes a sock. That and the knit 2 together through the back loop, put needle back on, stitch, repeat. Those are my 2 favorite ways to bind off socks from the toe up. I just think they look the nicest, but I don't love the knit 2 together through the back loop for adult socks because it's just a little bit less stretchy than the sewn bind off. So I do a 1 by 1 rib so that I can then do a sewn bind off. And there's cat fur all over these socks. It's because they were drying on my sink, and my cats are princesses. They're all boys except for one, and the one girl is the least princessy, but they're all princesses. and won't drink water out of a bowl. Not true. My cat, my personal cat, will drink water out of a bowl, but the other cats will only drink water out of the sink. Whatever. So they are finished. I will put in a photo of them on my feet so that you can see the pattern. Yay, that! I'm super excited that those are finished. The pattern is very, very beautiful, but very labor intensive because it's a 30 round repeat and the pattern doesn't really repeat itself within itself. Does that make sense? Each round is unique, more or less. I think that's a better way to say it. So yeah, they're really, really lovely. I'm glad to have them finished and on to works in progress. So last week I was working on House Targaryen sock number 1, which I then finished while I was in Michigan, because apparently what you do in Michigan is only work on socks. That's not true. I think I did a little cross stitching while I was there, but mostly knitting on socks because both socks were to the point where it's pretty mindless knitting. This is a free pattern, House Targaryen socks by Christina Pike. Oh, wait, let me go back. Let me talk about this yarn one more time because I didn't give you the specs on it. This is Science Monkey Mercantile in the colorway Rosalind Franklin's overexposed photograph on the Faraday base, and he doesn't die anymore. That is so, so sad. So I only have one skein of Science Monkey Mercantile yarn left. And it's so, so pretty that I think it just needs to sit there for just a little longer, because then I won't be able to get any more, and I love it. But I don't want it to sit there for forever because it's so pretty. It's gorgeous stuff. Anyway, there's that. Back to the House Targaryen socks. So this yarn is Marigold Jen in the Yoshi colorway. And this pattern is a free pattern. It's super, super easy. It's a 5 round repeat. There are no specific heel and toe instructions. It just says go until this length and then do your heel, and go until this length and do your toe that you like, which I think is fair for a free pattern. And yeah, it's a 5 round repeat, so it's really, really easy to do on the go, and only one of those rounds has any patterning on it. So the other 4 rounds are just the ribbing, which I guess is still technically pattern. It's not vanilla, but it's just a knit 3 purl one, so it's not really a pattern. There is the first sock, and here is the second sock. I am nearly through the gusset decreases. Well, I guess that's not true. Let's see. Okay, I have 18 stitches per needle on the gusset, and I'm going down to 15 stitches per needle. So almost finished with the gusset, and then the foot will zoom because this is super duper easy. And I'm really enjoying the pattern. I am super enjoying this yarn. It's so pretty. Marigold Jen dyes gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. And look at that cake. I love it. And you will be seeing this yarn in the future because I put 2 yarns together. I put these 2 yarns in my yarn bowl. So I think these are going to be nephew socks, like nephew tube socks, because I just love those colors together. This will be the toes and cuff, and then this will be the main tube sock portion. I'm thinking, not 100% sure, but before I make the tube sock using this, I will make squares for miter square, blanket, and a hex puff. That way I can not worry about running out of yarn before I make those things. Because I can always make the cuff longer using this orange yarn. I have used this in all of the modular things, so I don't need to worry about that. What else? I did not take the Rose City rollers with me, but I did work on them a little bit because, you know, elliptical knitting. I'm pretty sure that both socks were either, I think they were both right at the round after the heel last week, I think. So I put that much progress on this one and just a few rounds on this one. Did not elliptical a ton because, you know, driving. But I did elliptical a little bit, and they will make progress this week because I'm not driving and I need to elliptical. Also, I kind of really like ellipticaling. Not before I'm doing it, but once I'm on it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can kick butt. That's awesome. Rose City Rollers is a pattern by Mara Catherine Brenner. The color that I'm using for the main body of the sock, so this big chunk right here, is by Color Me Twisted, and it is the Where's the Kaboom colorway, which, if you don't get the reference, shame on you, but it's from Marvin the Martian, the Bugs Bunny cartoons, where he says, but where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be a big kaboom trying to blow up the earth. And I just love those colors. It's perfect for that scene. The colors are. The purple is Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in Royalty. And the cuff is this Pagewood Farms Denali sock in the Marine Girl colorway. And these are all yarns that I've used in previous projects. I used them to make my kids tube socks for this Christmas, so I'm going to have matching socks to both of my kids. Super excited. Those are going to be my Christmas socks. This week I also worked on the Steampunkery socks by Heather Lee Walker. The yarn that I used is 716 knit, 716 sock in the Hell Hath No Fury, like a woman scorned for Sega. And look, they're now in the round, and not just a little bit. So let me unbutton this one. Look, they're joined in the round, and it's like 2 rounds in. I have all the buttons sewn on because I did that as I went, so I wouldn't have that as finishing, because sometimes I'm like, oh, do I really have to finish this? I have to sew on 12 buttons? That seems like a lot. So I just did it as I was going, which also meant I didn't have to worry about figuring out button placement. And here's the one side all buttoned up. Look at those buttons with that yarn. It's gorgeous. I still think that this would make a fabulous little sweater sleeve. Isn't that cute? But that's crazy. I can't do that to myself right now. Maybe later. So anyway, this yarn is gorgeous. It's white and speckled. See, that way it's blown out and that way it's a little too dark. But I'll go with too dark so you can see the cable pattern. It's super cable-y goodness, and doing heel flaps today. That's my plan. And then I'll be working in the round on this, and I highly doubt that this is going to take me through the end of June. So I don't know. What do you think? Should I start my third quarter socks early, or should I focus on other projects after I finish my second quarter socks?
Hello, podcast.
Let me know what you think. Hello, Mara. You want to come sit with me for a second?
Uh-huh. What's that?
That's my podcast.
Hi, podcast.
And then I also worked on
a Care Bear.
Exactly. This is Bedtime Bear. I have this leg that's fully crossed up to what you see, and then this is half crossed up here. And then the cloud is just barely further than it was. Like I said, I didn't work on this a ton while I was gone, so probably about half the work that I normally put in, but I did get some work. And I also started a project because I finished a project. I had to start one, right? I started, just barely, a hat.
My mommy wants to get flowers on her birthday. Miss Tara does too.
Oh, okay. I don't know who Miss Tara is. I feel like it's a cartoon character maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, this is the cast on and the first row of the string band by Stephen West. I'm using, my best friend started knitting, or I taught her to knit, and she made one project and it was a hat. And then she started a pair of thigh highs, which she didn't finish, and I'm ripping out to make her this hat. So this is the second thigh high because she was doing them 2 at a time. And I pulled out the first one to border my sister's mitered square blanket. And now I'm pulling out the second one to work on this hat. But I have plenty of, I think I have 2.5 skeins of this, so way more than I need, even though they're only 50 grams, to make the hat. And it's striping, so I'll be using a white to stripe with that. I'm using US size 1 for the beginning ribbing. The pattern calls for a size 3, but my string band that I made for myself gets really loose really fast. So the second string band that I made for James of the Dancing Geek podcast. I knit the brim on that on 1s, I'm pretty sure. Or 2s, I can't remember. But it seemed to fit better when I tried it on. So I'm using 1s on the hat brim, and then it says to go up to size 4 for the main body. I'm going up to size 3.
Excuse me, podcast.
Yes, Mara.
I helped my mom put away groceries.
She did help me put away groceries. She's a very good helper. So those are all of my works in progress. I was super duper bad about modular projects this week.
Mom, my mommy's at work.
I made 1 hexapuff, and that is
where's
it.
my mommy?
Your mommy's at work, apparently. I made 1 hexapuff, and that's it. So that brings my total up to 527. I didn't do a mitered square. I didn't do a barn raising square. It was a busy week. I'm not going to apologize for it. I had an excellent week, and sometimes crafting can't happen when you're being super busy. Okay, so I have a new thing, and it's amazing. For Mother's Day, I received a Nitty Notty. It is so pretty.
Lila helped her daddy.
Look at that. It is a 72-inch
his glasses.
cherry finish. It is just so, no, not cherry, mahogany finish. It is just so, so pretty. And I could continue to use household items as a Nitty Notty, and it would have been fine. It would have worked fine. But sometimes it's just really, really joyful to have beautiful tools, and this is gorgeous. I haven't used it yet. I haven't finished any yarn. I haven't finished a project that required me to re-skein the yarn after for any purpose. So I haven't used it, but I am planning on doing a spinning project this month, which I haven't started. So hopefully that will be getting used pretty soon. It is just so pretty. I super love it, and I'm excited. So on to reading, which is my last segment, and this podcast is flying. I don't know if I had started Twilight last week. Oh, yes, I had. I had to return it to the library. So I re-got it out. So here's Twilight, and I am on page 189 out of 498. So it's going, and I'm enjoying it. I just read Life and Death, so the story is not new. Also, I read Twilight like a decade ago, so I know what's going to happen. But it's not bad to reread books every once in a while, right? I think I started Poison Fruit last week by Jacqueline Carey. I didn't really pick it up this week. I'm only on page 30 of 456. I did start a new book, kind of. I picked up an audiobook from the library so that I would have something to listen to while I was driving. I definitely listened to the first 2 discs of Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and started the 3rd and maybe finished the 3rd, but I can't remember. There are 9 discs total, so that kind of gives you an idea of how far I am. And it was an okay listen. It was good for getting me through the middle of Ohio where there are no radio stations. But at the beginning and end of each drive, I needed music because I need to be able to sing along and move in my car. Otherwise, I get really, really tired. And I'm still listening to Blood Rights. I am about 3/4 of the way through that audiobook. That's all we have for you this week. So we hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. I will definitely see you next week, and maybe this one too. So have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.